Corey Perry here, Danny Syvret, Mason Manzavrakos. Corey's been training with me this summer, and it's been great. I haven't seen Corey in how many years, Pears? 20
years.
20 years. I had Corey when he first started with the London Knights, and I remember he was playing with Rick Nash at the time, and I think he was struggling a little bit, just kind of keeping his feet. He was scoring tons of points, as he always does. And I think it was Mark Hunter that probably called me and said, I got this kid over here. And I don't know if I was working for the team yet or not. I think it was like just before.
I think it was right before.
Just before.
Yeah.
And Pears was showing up. I had this old gym in down by my dad's restaurant in South London. And like concrete floors, like old school, like Miami style when we were down in Fast Twitch. And Pears walks in, and I'm like, holy smokes. And I went to go watch a couple games. And Pears was like, man, I got to put some size on here, right? And I'm like, it's during the season, so it's tough to do. But the friggin' guy, I'm going to give it to him. I don't know, you were probably coming 2 or 3 times a week, I think, at that point. And just battled and kept putting on weight. And it started, I think it started to help you, especially into the next year, for sure. Like that summer was big.
Yeah.
So Corey's in here. Danny Syvret, another guy that we become really good friends over the last couple years. Mason, him coaching minor midget hockey with the London Junior Knights, AAA.
Really fun.
Yeah, doing a great job with that. And Danny's my workout partner when it doesn't get as busy as it is in the summertime. We probably spend about 2 or 3 hours in the gym. Still look the same as we did 10 years ago.
Feel better, though.
Yeah, feel better, right? So I just, really pleasured and blessed to have Corey in here to do this today, because I wanted to just kind of like, when he came back through the door, I hadn't seen him in so long, I was like, wow, this is awesome, because we had really good connection and vibe when he was younger and stuff like that, when I was helping the Knights out. And I just kind of want to touch a little bit on his career and talk to Corey and Danny a little bit about how hockey's evolved, training, skating, from when he started to now. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but big contract for Corey, heading to Chicago. 1-year deal, right, Corey? $4 million. Great contract for you, man. And now you're heading down, so everything's getting shipped from Tampa to.
It's all being shipped, all being moved in, and luckily somebody's there to help me out.
Yeah,
I can be here to skate, train.
Yeah, don't even focus on that, right?
And it's all sailing from here.
Yeah, and just so you know that it's not like me and Mason moving out or Danny moving out. It's like his stuff's going right from Tampa right to friggin' Chicago. He just opens the door. If he needs to get a suit or a jacket on, he just opens up the closet where he goes.
Not driving the U-Haul? I'm not going.
No U-Hauls for Corey.
I drove a U-Haul back from Tampa.
You did, eh?
Oh, yeah. I've driven a few U-Hauls in my day.
Right on.
Back of the truck. And
how does like a deal like that transpire? Like your free agent, I knew some teams wanted your rights before free agency started July 1st. So how does that all happen? Like, are you in contact with your agent? Do you know which teams are sort of wanting you at dollar amounts, or how does that process end up getting to the point of, okay, this is where I want to go?
Kind of started early June, started the process. Had a meeting in Tampa with the GM at the end of the season, and kind of talked about where they're heading and what's going to transpire, and then it went from there. I knew I'd be a free agent. We'll put it that way. And those are things that sometimes you don't want to hear, but it kind of lights another fire under you. And luckily met up with Spero this summer, and it's been a great summer for me. Like, I knew I needed 38 years old. I got to skate against Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon. I got Victor Hedman I got to play against again. I mean, those guys are big, strong, physical. The game's not getting any slower, so I knew that I had to be on my game for this summer and work on things that just different things, and just the way I needed to push myself a little bit. But getting back to your question, it was early June, and started talking to a couple teams, and talked to I didn't talk to teams. My agent was talking to teams, and kind of the process evolved, and I was talking to him more and more and more. And
Chicago? More? or just your
And like,
agent?
did you know about Chicago at all? Like,
So I actually was on a golf trip in the end of June over in Ireland, and I got a call from my agent, and they said Chicago wants to talk to us. I said okay. He said, "Are you available? They want to call you. They want to have a quick meeting and go from there." And they call it was Kyle Davidson and Luke Richardson, the head coach and GM, and had probably a 45-minute conversation with the two of them, and my agent was on the phone, and we just I knew Luke from Montreal. He was my assistant coach there, and
he really liked you there.
Yeah,
and you dragged them to the finals too, so that helps too.
That definitely helps.
You think Jimmy McKellar had anything? Nothing?
Sure. Yeah, he probably did.
I'm sure he would have definitely.
I think a lot of it is like character referencing too, right? Like when you want a player in of Corey's stature, you want someone that's going to come in and sort of command the room and command the young guys, and so you're not looking for someone that's going to come in and get you 100 points, and you're looking for a guy that's going to take control of the team and be like, I'm there early, I'm working out or preparing myself, I'm respectful and get along really good with the medical staff, the training staff, like just a good person to be around, I think. And then that way, when you have a young nucleus of Chicago, they now have a guy to sort of look at and go, that's how we have to be, right? Because if you don't have it, you get this bad culture, and then it just turns toxic because your studs who are up and coming end up turning poisonous because they're not brought along the right way.
Yeah, they're getting that guy in him. I watch him come into the gym he's there every single time, 15 minutes early. Scares the shit out of me when he walks in and writing up on the board.
On the door.
Well, he started knocking on the door near the end. He's like, I'm going to scare this old guy here, right? Comes in, friggin' warms up, and then sometimes there'll be like the odd young guy coming in, and they're seeing that, and that's what I want to see, right? Because look, we've all been around players who have had great work ethic. We've had players who've had not so great work ethic. And we know that a lot of times those guys that don't have that great work ethic, as soon as they see somebody of Corey's caliber start, coming in and
it's contagious.
It's contagious, right? So, we still got some work to do with some other guys in the gym, but I always use this and I get some people get worked up about certain players that don't do things all the time, and it works me up a little bit. But guys who don't work that hard and they're young, but eventually, if you continue to kind of like motivate them a little bit, don't get on them too hard, they can possibly change and become a great hockey player. I've seen guys that have been lazy and become great hockey players, but in today's game, it's not happening.
So
right?
Okay, so both of you, as a player, you see it, and as a trainer, how much have you changed in 20 years, both of you, on how you've seen players be talked to or how the approach was to now, and same for you as trainer 25 years ago? How could you approach someone compared to modern day person to get the optimal output from the athlete?
You see it every day in coaches. Like when I first came in the league, it was a barking all
that's what I thought you were going to say
day long. It practices for an hour and a half, and you flood, and then you go back out. Today's game, it's it's changed, it's evolved. Obviously, the kids have their trainer at 12, 13, 14 years old. They have skills coaches, so it's changed that way. But also, you're not yelling at kids anymore.
No.
Players, I shouldn't say kids. I call them kids, but
because to you they are.
To me, but you just don't do it anymore. They want to be. They want to be talked to and they want to be taught, and they don't want to be yelled at. It's kind of how it's changed a little bit.
Yeah, he's right about that. I mean, I've seen it change big time in the last probably 7-8 years, to take a different approach. Like, you know what? I'm sure there's days where you're like, oh, this guy's driving me crazy. Like, what is he doing? But there's other days like going, hey, you know what? There's all this mental health issues with people these days, stress. The pressure, and maybe nobody's been involved in that pressure before. So, if I have a situation with a player where he's not really, if he's a high-level guy, I'd like to call, a director of player personnel and try to talk to him about the situation and hopefully come up with some type of little, just so you can push him a little bit, right? Hey, listen, you're working out over there, put a good effort in here. The testing's important for you. Let's get to work, and so you're competing with the guys on the same level when you get here. But that I've like when I was earlier in my career, I agree with Corey. Like even me, I was probably a little harder on guys. Like I would be like, but now it's changed. Mm-hmm. You can still get your message across, right, Pears?
So you still have to have your times where you're getting your message across.
100%.
And you're hard on somebody or the team or whoever, whatever it is, and but on a day-to-day basis, I think that. It goes in one ear and out the other pretty quickly.
Well, you guys take that approach.
Yeah, well, like for us, it's probably similar. We're dealing with kids who are in their OHL draft year, so they're in grade 10. Very high stress, pressure. We've been through it, the three of us, and you as a dad as well. But just the way that you have to interact with different players, like you have to have a connection with players because there's going to be some players where you can be harder on in a sense to get more output and efficiency out of them, but there are some that you can't really until maybe you absolutely need to, and then that's like okay, now I need you, 100%. And then it because you can't just sort of beat a dead horse or keep whipping a guy, and then eventually they just go.
Some guys can take it. Some guys love that, but
but it's just a matter of feeling that.
But those really good coaches, they can read that off a guy, right? Like I'm sure you've been around long enough. If you were coaching out pairs, you probably know that. Okay, that guy there, a little lazy, but if I talk to him like this, I'm going to get it out of him. Yeah. That guy there, if I yell at him, he's going to love it. Mm-hmm. He's going to step it up, right?
Especially for young guys, like you would deal with in the gym as well. Is like I think a lot of them. Corey was talking about they all have trainers and skills people and whatever, and you don't really know if they're getting the proper tutelage the whole way along, right? So we're getting them in their absolute peak year they need to, and you don't really know what they've gotten or have gone through or whatever. So the way that you sort of have to massage the situations to better understand the player so that he can, you can just sort of let them come off and realize that maybe they made a mistake and have a way to maybe educate them more in a better way than saying, you got to be better. That's back in our day. It was like, you just got to be better. It's like, okay, well, maybe I don't know how to.
Now it's more teaching.
Tell me.
There's so much video and that goes into the game. There's iPads on the bench, and coaches will grab the iPad and just say, hey, this is what happened. And you can see it right then there, rather than wait till tomorrow and go through video and pause and be like
the star.
And you've got access to coaches that are psychologists. Yeah. Are guys using them pairs? Like, are guys using them up in the pros? Like,
sure.
They are.
There's the last few teams I've been on, and even in Anaheim in my later in my career in Anaheim, there was people around all the time
using them.
They pull somebody aside every day and just talk to them and see how day-to-day life's going and then start talking about hockey and go from there. And it's a good way to talk about everything on how hockey's going, but at the end of the day, it's about day-to-day life.
100%. Yeah.
And how you're feeling.
Well, there's a lot of pressure. I mean, listen, guys are there to perform, and if you don't perform, you probably remember. I think I saw a small little article where you were up playing in the NHL and they sent you back down. You were actually doing pretty good.
Yeah.
You make I've seen it where guys make a couple errors in a shift and then all of a sudden you're back in the AHL. Mm-hmm. And it's in the back of your mind, right? So to be able to overcome that type of anxiety, to perform at the highest level, I mean, you have to have positive surroundings, I think, all the time. People, do. Right? Good coaches, good trainers, good staff and that. So, I mean, when you were in so I'm going to switch over just a little bit to when you were talking about Connor Bedard. I saw a little video of you and Griff talking to him on the bench. How was he? Did he look in good shape? Is this guy elite level?
He's elite.
He's elite, eh?
Yeah, I watched when Griff and I got there. He was on the ice, and right away I wanted to go see what he's all about. What he's all about. Yeah. Meet him. And I'm going to be his teammate, so I went over there, went to the bench, came over and said hi, and gave Griff a big
high five,
a little fist pump, and we talked to him after he skated. I got to tour the dressing room and the rink, and then I talked to him after we skated, and he's a good kid. He's
Good
down
kid.
to earth.
Yeah, he's got his stuff in order there.
Yeah, and works hard. He's bigger than everybody thinks, probably.
What's his? What do you think his weight is?
I don't know. What do you?
Pairs?
Would he be like Sid,
190?
like our era Sid?
Yeah,
Like young
probably.
guy, just sort of put together
Yeah,
the right way.
I think so.
Thick,
And
yeah.
his parents are there. I met his parents, and they're great. And they talked to Griff for a while. His
Yeah,
mom.
yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be exciting, and it's going to be a challenge. It's the NHL.
Yeah.
He just turned 18, and but the kid I think is going to be a superstar.
Yeah, he's definitely, and they're trying to put some guys around him. I know Chicago lost a lot of players, I would assume, or just got kind of stagnant maybe. I see they made some trades with Kaner left, and Taves retired, right?
I don't know what's going on there.
I
He's still
thought
free
he
agent,
did, but he's a free agent? Okay, so not for sure.
Not sure what. I haven't talked to him, so.
But exciting for you, and I'm going to say this for just, shits and giggles, but, I've always been a fan of his. I know he can play on the top lines anywhere if he he was put in that position, and he gets given these roles, let's save Corey to the playoffs, and, let's use him at that time, which is, listen, it's kind of smart. Like the NFL is doing a lot of that through analytics and stuff too, but it still bothers me. I'm going, he could put him on the top two lines there. He can do as much as anybody else, but he takes the job and he does it.
Yeah.
And who cares? It's the way it is, right?
Just the way it is.
It's the way it is, right? You want a job? It's what you got to
play
do.
and
Yeah.
just do what you can do.
Yeah, 100%. But this could give him another, opportunity to get a little bit more ice for sure, especially during the regular season. I think Corey in this situation, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I don't know what's really going to happen, but I'm looking forward to having a good summer, and then coming in and being
that's
a little bit better, and
100%.
It's see where the chips fall.
You can only control what you can control when you're
Exactly.
there, and
Just
you're there
go
for the team and
just go play
and the
do
whole
your
bit,
thing.
right? Like I remember that team we had in London, the 2005 London Knights that I was helping out with like training and stuff. The caliber of guys, but like the unity was solid, man. Like everybody.
It's hard, I think it's hard to win any sports, any team aspect without that element. You can have really good players, but you have to, at the end of the day, care about one another to be able to, like Corey's sort of doing. He was the MVP of the NHL. He's playing on the fourth line in Tampa. He's getting power play time. Sometimes he's playing 12 minutes, 18 minutes, 10 minutes, 6 minutes. Like
just changes
doing his role to be a team player and get that success, and so I think that element of playing for everyone else is a big aspect of team success.
Yeah.
Like you can't be, and I think deep down every player is. It's going to sound bad to say this, but I think deep down everyone is sort of internally selfish. Like you do care about yourself because at the end of the day, that you have to worry about yourself, right? But in the team element, it's like as soon as guys have good camaraderie and become like a unit, that's a hard team to. It's almost like it's like I don't know what Florida's dressing room was like, but it seemed like the way that they played in the playoffs was like they were boys. Like they would do anything for one another. And I'm not saying that other teams didn't succeed. Like Caroline and them had a good series, but just the ability to grab everyone and understand like I might be an MVP, former MVP, led the NHL in goals. I'm going to do this role because it's best for our team.
Yeah, 100%.
Like I don't think you can win without that.
Look at Kessel, right? Kessel ended up, did he even play in the playoffs?
I don't know.
For Vegas? I think he sat, right? I mean, imagine how hard that was for him to do that, but you know what?
But you said you like Corey. You might be one of the only ones. Like a lot of people despise him. But the funny thing is like the people that know him as a person really like him. Like the guys we golf with and everyone in the city are like they pull for Corey, whatever. Like it's like Tampa, Montreal, Dallas, whatever. Now it's going to be Chicago, but it's like they're fans of Corey. Yet the overwhelming hockey population that just knows how he plays and is sort of like, I hate this guy. But they would kill for him to be on the team. But then you see him off the ice and understand. You're like, the way he plays on the ice is not the way he is off the ice.
He goes in. It's like it's funny, like you said.
You're a shithead on the ice for
Dice
sure.
his pie in the gym.
Right?
gets in the rink, and it's like he's a straight up killer.
Yeah.
It goes like this. But
there's
you
a
got to
switch
do that.
when I get to the rink, it's
It's
falling
it's
on
all
goalies.
business. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to
do whatever it takes to win.
You know how hard it is to sit in front of those net and get smacked by guys in the sticks in the back and whacked in the legs and stuff like that. And he's good at getting underneath your skin and stuff like that too. At times, I think that's key. You know, kind of that element in that game that you need to have during the big games for sure, right? Pissing those guys off there, the superstars.
Well, and too, like the other thing too is like, if you want to say that he has a lesser role now as he's sort of aged, and that the fact that he can take the spotlight of a game and take it over, and maybe there's an elite player on their team that's struggling or whatever, and it's like now he absorbs all of that attention, and it's like you just go do your thing now.
Do your thing, exactly.
Because I'm sucking up all the attention here, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't
just relax. Just have fun.
there's no pressure now because I'm taking all of it, right? You do your thing.
I said to Mace, sometimes I'm driving home after a workout because I push him to the limit. Like sometimes I'll take a couple exercises away because I feel bad, and I'll be like, "Man, we gotta take it easy on Paris to go to the gym." No, and then he comes in. I texted him the one day, and he's like, "I'm like Paris." I go, "Hey man, we feel bad sometimes." He's like, "No, actually, I like it." Like, that's great.
I just know it's gonna make me feel
yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because you've had some surgeries, you've had things that you've had to work around, and I still can't, you know, I won't forget that day where I don't know, it's probably like week 1 or 2, and his back goes out on him, and I'm like, you still made it to the gym. You still came down and go, Perry, just go home, man. He's like, no, give me a couple minutes. So we spent about 15 minutes walking around doing some exercises.
That's all I needed.
Next thing you know, I was like, no, it's good. I'm back to 100% already, right? Yeah. So
just slept wrong on it. And,
so Spero alluded to injuries. Like, how hard is that as an athlete to overcome injuries as far as like where you're sidelined and your team's playing and you're just sort of stagnant, or the summer aspect of trying to get back to where you want to be?
Yeah. No,
right? Like you both have.
Yeah, when I had my tore my meniscus, and I did it taking a stride and warm up. It wasn't anything, and the meniscus flipped and couldn't move my knee, and I knew right away what was going on. And
just from taking a stride, you caught something the wrong way.
Took a stride, and it just snapped. And
man,
you know, I knew there was a slight tear in there already, like before that, and you know, I had didn't tear my MCL, but strained my MCL a few times, and you know, all these little injuries over time, they add up, and eventually I had to have surgery, and they said it'd be 4 to 6 months, and that was preseason game number 1, so I knew it wouldn't be till February.
You get back on the ice.
February. So I played, I think it was 4 months to the day I played a game in the NHL. And that I went to the physio every day.
I was going to say, take us through that, Corey. Like, what's that like?
Yeah, it was more doing the rehab than it was trying to play hockey again. They're going to a regular day during hockey season. So, yeah, I went to the pool at 7:30. I swam. I did some rehab in the pool. Then I went to physio. I was probably there for 2 hours of physio. Time I went through everything. And then every other day I was going to the rink as well to work out.
Right.
So
and were you working around that? Were you working out around the guys or no? Just with the trainer?
Some days they come in.
They just come in.
as
Nobody really likes to do that, right? Yeah.
You know, but I didn't want to be there, but I wanted to be around the guys because I'm still part of the team.
100%, yeah.
And I was going to every game at home. I didn't go on the road. So, you know, you feel excluded a little bit.
Yeah, you do. You
know, it was hard. Mentally, it was hard. But I knew if I did this now, down the road, it's going to be a little easier trying to come back.
Yeah.
You know, it's obviously not going to be easy because it's your knee and you never know what's going to happen. But I didn't feel normal for probably a year.
That's crazy. So you still played through, like it just didn't feel right.
Yeah, and I've talked to other guys that had the same surgery, and they said the same thing. It's probably 12 months before you actually feel mentally normal and feel normal on the ice. And
they were right.
And they were wrong.
Well, I know Mason had had a short stint in Sweden. We got him over there. He signed a pro contract at 19, and then all of a sudden, like, it was bothering him about a year. His hips were bothering him, like, to the point where he was like throwing up from the pain. And then we ended up getting it diagnosed as double hip impingement syndrome, which is common. I think Bergeron had it. I think Marchand had it. I think is Bergeron out now? He's retired. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I went through and watched that process with him, and it was terrible, man. Like, his 2 labrums got ripped off just from the pressure. And Mace, you know, that was what, 6 months for the first one, then you went in, got the other one done, right?
6 months. Actually, no, it was a month. I got the next one done right after the first month of being healed, and then I just recently recovered past year.
Yeah.
Just started being able to lift again properly without any pain, and mentally it affected me quite a bit.
100%. Yeah. And that whole COVID thing was going on at that time, and it was like depression.
When you're as an athlete, you're so used to doing stuff, being active always, and then you're like, you can't because
you
of
have a schedule.
physical.
Yeah, we have a schedule.
Yeah.
You know, and
that's how it is. That's your clock.
Yeah, when that's taken away from you.
You
Yeah.
like the schedule.
Yeah.
It's just something that keeps you going.
Imagine those UFC guys, like those guys that are, you know, we think we train hard. Like, we train hard, but those guys, you know, they blow their knees out. You have John Jones kicking some guy in the knee for you know, 4 or 5 rounds. And I forget who the guy was that he was fighting. Santos or I can't remember. Anyway, he has a big hammer on his chest, big dude, and he was tough. And both of his ACLs blown in that fight. So now this guy's got to come back, rehab, and continue to train, and, like, you know, it's unbelievable. But you know what? Thank God those trainers, they're incredible for the teams. You know, those guys work a lot of hours. They're there all the time for you guys. You know, when someone's hurt, it's amazing. Right?
And majority of them are in big cities that have they're specialists of various different degrees. So you have someone on hand, whatever it is, like
Anything you want.
hand, knee, foot, whatever, head. Like, it's like, boom, I got the best guy in the city, arguably, in whatever city you're in, respectively.
And they got MRI machines right in the change room, right?
No MRIs, but they got everything else.
Like CT machine,
you got
yes.
everything there, but
Portable ones, Corey?
no, they're all in the room.
Really?
Yeah.
Like big, laying it, driving through?
No, you don't do any of that in the
No.
rooms, but you gotta go MRI and off-site, but they get you in right away.
That's nuts.
I know when I did my knee, it was in warm-up. I got an MRI done. I was back before the end of the game. Yeah,
Really?
Do you still have to wear braces or anything while you're
I
on
don't
the
wear any braces yet.
You do when you play?
Just for your own
It's just
feel?
Yeah, and I've worn them for pretty much my whole career now.
Because you don't work
Really?
out. You don't work out
I don't
with
work
them.
out with them.
Yeah.
No. I don't do anything with them other than when I put my equipment on.
Is there any restriction with those or no?
I mean,
You don't even know.
guys-
You've
guys
built.
say there are and they hate them, but I played with them.
It doesn't matter. It
for
doesn't. Yeah, you learn how to
18 years
cope with
now.
that, right?
Comfort thing now.
Yeah, it's comfort, and I mean, it's probably saved me a few
100%.
injuries when
Yeah.
somebody falls on me in front or whatever.
So what are they? They long ones? They have like steel
Sure.
inserts on the sides along the MCL,
The
ACL.
Donjoy, the ones you see all the football guys wear.
Okay, outside of their gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the
I'll
same
tell you,
one
these
I'm wearing.
guys got it.
So what do you have to do? Like, because it's now you're wearing that under your shin pad.
Yeah.
Does your equipment guy have to carve your shin pad up, or do you do it, or do you just?
No, it's well, you don't want to see my shin pads.
They're not even shin pads. They're little peanut shells, eh?
One's not even touched. I just put it on, and the other one, the inside's cut out. But I got a foam piece. I don't know why it's different. It's just the way.
It is.
This way. it
Hockey
is.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do things differently.
Yeah.
Get accustomed
My
to it.
shoulder pads are 5 different companies.
Together.
They're
All put
16
together.
years old.
Yeah, I know. You guys get these feels. I seen Ovechkin one time on television. He took his stuff off there, and he had like really small shoulder pads. Like, and he said he had them for years. I didn't think they lasted that long. But I know when I was in Russia, like, you know, speaking of the knee injuries, you know, training camp was like, these guys have it good in terms of like having this the union telling them, hey, you could only go to the rink for this long. Those guys over there, I showed up. I remember my first job, and it was in Khabarovsk, Russia. And I show up down there, and I start training these guys, and they were kind of like feeling me out to see if, hey, this is the guy we want to hire or not. So I just went and did like 4 or 5 guys. They hadn't seen any training like that before. This team has a history of like a lot of like losses. They don't win very much games. They're on the eastern seaboard of China, like Siberia, where the Siberian tiger's from. Like there is nothing around this place, just snow, and really bad place. Anyway, they draw a good crowd. They get like 8,000 people. But I would go to training camp and I would be like watching these guys with, you know, those knee braces you wear at like Shoppers Drug Mart. And because they were running these guys 10 kilometers every day. So I came in with this plan. I said, you guys hire me. This is the plan I want to follow. Like, just like we do over here, right? Some training, some recovery. And manager bought into it. Yep, we're doing it 100%. Hired me. You know, these guys are probably thinking this time they're going to win the whole thing, right? Because of some trainer. And I'm like, we still have to have good players to win a cup. Anyway, the coach blows in usually in those, like in the KHL, they'll come in like 1 week before camp starts. And I've got everything laid out, have a big meeting, and I'm showing him the plan. And he's like, no, cross, nope. And then I get a plan from him the next day. So they're running 6 days a week. So we're getting up in the morning, we're training in the gym. 2 hours. And if you weren't done, like, you know, let's say if I had an hour workout planned, you better figure something else out to get the second hours. So now there goes out, you know, out the door my training philosophy, right? Mm-hmm. Then you go eat lunch, go back, and then you do your 10-kilometer run. Everybody. Shin splints or not, you're doing it 6 days a week. Then you come back, you go and have a nap, you come back and you skate later on at night. And they do this for like 6 weeks, man. 6 weeks. And there's no care over there. Like our 2 doctors these guys were drunk on the bench. Like, I'm not joking. They would drink. They were pediatric doctors. They were like working with kids their whole lives, and somehow they ended up getting a job with the pro club.
Yeah, buddies are the owner.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm going like, these guys don't even know what they're talking about. I was in the trainer's room the one day, and I had this one guy. He had some shoulder impingement going on, and they put the electrodes on him. You know, a little patch they put on, and you can crank up the intensity. And I walk into the room, and I know I smell is like burning flesh. And I walk over. The doctor didn't even know what was going on. And the player's, you know, it's bothering, but he's not saying anything. His last name, I think it was Loganoff. And I walk over and I go, what? I look at the frequency. He's got it like cranked all the way to the right. The skin, I pull the patch off. He's got a big burnt piece of skin on there, right? So, you know, for these guys, like, it's like night and day to go and to see that. And it was sad. Like, there was guys who were like begging for help. Yeah. You'd have to go to like Germany to get surgery because they wouldn't give it to you in you know, proper surgery in Russia. Yeah. So anyway.
you'd hope that it's evolved now, because that was like, you were probably early in the KHL existence.
Yeah, that was
right?
2014, 15. So that wasn't that long ago. But I know the bigger clubs like the Red Army teams, you're going to get looked after, like CSKA or SKA or Lokomotiv. But the teams that have don't have a lot of money, you know, those type of things go on for sure. So, but I want to go into kind of back to Pears' earlier years. I kind of just go through, you know, from Peterborough minor hockey. Pears, you played like growing up in Peterborough, I would assume, right? Mm-hmm. And then you made your way to the London Knights, and then obviously the NHL and Olympics. So I'll cover that last category in a minute. But what was it like playing hockey in Peterborough? Like, was it AAA?
Yeah, I grew up way up north.
You have AAA there? Just kidding.
AAA.
New Lisker.
How many people are? What's the population
there? I grew up in Hillbury, New Lisker, way up north till I was 10. And
what'd you do? What's that? What's that?
What's that?
Well, no, but like, no, because
I don't know what it is either. Actually,
no, but I'm just saying, like, we all grew up sort of in an area where, like, you're playing up until you get to minor Adam AAA. You still have sort of, you know, not elite, but there's a lot of population. So you're
there wasn't. I think the town was only 2,000 people, 2,500 people, and New Lisker would have been 3,000 people, but it was tiny. And it got cold in the winter. I'll tell you that. But yeah, we were outside as kids. Dad always had the backyard rink going up there, and kind of where we grew up, learned how to play. And then at 10, I moved to Peterborough. Dad got transferred from the OPP from Hillsbury to Peterborough, and we moved in December. So we actually went down in the spring or in the fall to do the tryouts because we knew we were moving.
It's like Major Adam.
It was
Probably?
Major Adam, Minor Adam, something like that. And they said, yeah, we'll hold a spot for me. And then my brother got the same thing. They held a spot for him. And then in December, right at Christmas time, we moved, and I was only in Peterborough for 6 years, so.
That's it. Then
that's it.
So
Then
you
I
played all
left and
your
I came
minor
here.
hockey until minor midget there?
Major Bantam at that time.
Major
called.
Bantam.
It's
Yeah.
the same. They've somehow converted. It's the same.
Right.
Same age
right,
groups.
yeah.
But yeah.
And so were you like the top scorer like every year, or did you start off like not being that good, or were you pretty good all the way through?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah. No, I know you don't like
Yeah.
You have to be
talking
humble,
about
but
that,
fuck, were you
yeah,
the
no.
best? Were you the leading scorer or the best player? Like,
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
Yeah, so
because wasn't who else was there? Corey Pecker,
no, Corey Vitarelli.
Corey Vitarelli.
Yeah, we were line mates.
So and he was pretty good too.
He was really good. He was my centerman. I think the OHL Cup or that year, I think I had like 70-something goals and he had 70-something assists. Like it was pretty much every goal I scored, he
was
assisted
on. He was in on it. So you guys made it to the
Whenever
OHL
he
Cup.
scored,
They won it.
We went to the OHL Cup. It was in Peterborough, and we won.
You guys won it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But back then there was only 4 or 5 teams.
It was I think it was one of the first years they did it.
And
But didn't
we played
you
against.
light it up though?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think.
We played like 5 or 6 games. I think I had 20 points or something like that. So
I'm not basing that a lot when I saw 4 and 5 games.
But yeah,
Who'd you guys beat? Who'd you guys play in the final? Do you remember?
I want to say it was North York Canadians.
That'd be like Anthony Stewart.
Anthony Stewart, Brent Burns, Jeff Platt.
Platt, yeah.
Brett Burns, was playing there too.
yeah.
So they had a stacked team.
Yeah, they had a good team.
Toronto, well, yeah, they're going to load up.
Wow. You guys beat a Toronto team out of Peterborough.
Yeah.
Corey
You guys
did.
go undefeated?
Corey did.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we
Bears
did.
beat- well, yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going back a long time. That's 20.
I said to
23
Bass, he's
years
so
ago.
consistent. You know, sometimes you're like sitting there in a crowd as a guy watching a game, and you're cheering on your buddy or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, he's going to get a goal. He's going to get a goal this game, whatever. But he was just always getting a goal or an assist or something all the time. Really hard to do. Like, really, really hard to do, man. Yeah. So then you got drafted. What pick were you drafted, Atlanta Knights?
5th overall.
5th overall.
Yeah. It was
In the 2000 and what draft?
2000, 2001?
2001.
2001.
Yeah. And Nash was drafted the year before.
Nashville, yeah.
Yeah. First year for the Hunters with
Nash.
the
Nash
Knights,
was the first
right?
guy. Nash was their first guy.
Nash was their first pick. And
Yeah,
then,
he was nasty in
And then he built, and so like the way how we won in 05 was through our draft that 01 year.
Yeah.
Like you had like him, you had Dylan, you had Coleman, you had Mathot, you had myself,
yeah.
you had Quincy. Like that was like the nucleus of the team. That one draft just became, because then when we came into, he had already played a year, and then we're the same age. And then when I came in, it was the same year. Mathot was a rookie, Quincy's a rookie, Gerald Coleman's a rookie. Dylan had already been there as well. Mm-hmm. Then we had Dave Boland as well and Rob Drummond. And then
Armin.
Well, we ended
That
up.
was
So
before. That was after.
that was after. So we were all young punks that are just trying to. We're playing in a super brand new building downtown, sold out, and we're like, we got to put on a show. And there was a good chance that it was a show. And the first year we just squeaked into the playoffs. I think upset. Who did we upset?
That was there, right?
Windsor?
That's when you lost to Guelph. And
No, well, that's the second year.
that was the second year. Okay.
So the first.
Was that there your first year?
The first year we were just young punks. I don't know if
It would have been like Logan Hunter.
no, that was
my
your
first
first year.
Yeah.
You guys knocked off Plymouth as a big upset.
That was 8-1, yeah.
And then the following year we were like a number 5 and we beat Wellwood and Windsor, and then went on a bit of a run, and then as 17-year-olds, and then the following year we were number 1 team in Canada as like sort of half-hearted rookies, and then that's when we
04, right?
That's when we lost to Guelph. We
Guelph
got
in
beat
game
out
se-
in Guelph,
yes.
which
Yeah,
we shouldn't
yeah,
have, but
yeah.
we got beat out in Game 7. And then the following year, we were the same team, nucleus, and then we started adding pieces, obviously, because Perry was there, Hunter, Gerald, the same group of guys from that one
Yeah,
draft.
All the way around.
Just we allowed to play and make mistakes and learn from them and develop and
Until the point where you're comfortable.
yeah. And then now in our 19-year-old year, we're just like,
That was amazing.
This is easy.
And you know what? Kudos to Mark and Dale. Like, back then the training was obviously different. I remember we had the 2-mile run, which they still use today, which sucks. I feel bad for those guys, but it is what it is.
and your
But,
brother was so good at it.
He
My
was,
brother can
AJ?
run. He still can run.
But body
He
fats,
would like,
body fats
but
every
he would
week.
he would lap us, and we're like,
Yeah.
I just can't
Or
run.
Megan Hunter lapping everybody.
Yeah.
Right? But you're sitting there going body fats every week. You're
Yeah,
over
you were
in-
pinching us a lot.
Yeah, every week. As I remember because halfway through that season in 2005, I got the job with New York, and Dale actually set that up, and I was surprised. He's like, no, take the job, do it. And I never want to hold anybody back from doing that, which was cool. But I was like, and then I had my brother helping out a little bit, but I was sitting there going like, that's one thing that they were adamant about, was just making sure their guys were finely tuned. Whether the information was 100% correct or not, like, you're overweight, 500 calorie bike ride.
Oh, I remember those. Yeah.
I didn't have to worry
I
about
didn't have
that.
to worry
though.
about
Did you
that.
do any
but
of them? You did. You were always
No, I
ripped,
didn't.
eh?
I was okay. I was
Yeah.
I was okay
Yeah,
then.
it was,
Yeah.
That was,
I did a few of those though.
I did them in pro.
They're
yeah.
nasty, eh?
They're
Yeah.
not fun.
Listen, man, Alex Henry.
Oh, Hank? Hank?
I don't know if it was 19 minutes, 500 calories.
Monster.
on a bike. That was crazy.
Guy was a freak.
Did he play long?
He's a lumberjack. Yeah, he was a captain for Minnesota.
He was.
Yeah.
The captain of Minnesota. So remember, he wasn't that great of a skater,
He was a machine, though.
but he was a machine.
And a great guy,
Yeah, a great guy.
too.
Yeah.
So, like, again, when you're talking about captaincy, you're like, this guy, he's going to be on time and work hard and block shots and stick
gonna
up
do
for
it all.
teammates
Yeah,
and do,
yeah.
and he'll be the guy that, like, some young guys walking out of the rink and they look over and they're like, oh man, he's sweating his ass off. We just got bagged and he's still on the
Nothing,
bike.
Nothing.
Am I
You know what I mean?
Am I in the wrong
Yeah.
place?
Yeah, he's going to be like, and you're like, oh.
Other guys like, get rid of this guy. Like he's going to think
Making
us
us
look
look
bad in a
bad.
minute, right? Yeah, no, I mean, that was an amazing year, and they got back, and then actually the first time I got back was the year before that was when you guys played Guelph in the game 7, and we lost. Mm-hmm. And I think they were winning by a few goals, and you guys came back.
Crawled back a bit.
Came back, and then I don't know if it was Cam Jansen playing there.
Yeah, so
It was.
we were. Who do we play the series before? Erie. Danny Bois was our captain, and we, again, like I said, we were young guys. Again, talking about leadership, we have an older guy who would do anything for the team. Like, he's gonna block shots with his mouth. He's gonna fight
That's
guys.
Bois,
Danny
right?
Bois.
Yeah, he was great.
And so he hit a guy in our final game, Heisey. And sort of elbowish I think he knocked him out. It was fairly vicious.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was not good. The video wasn't as good.
No, and he would have that
back
silly
then.
look on his face after he did
Back
that
then,
too, right?
the video was not as good. So, but inconclusive, maybe, hopefully. But they ended up suspending him for 7 games, which would have been the entire duration of our series against Guelph. And then we went 7 games against Guelph, and they had an older team. Like, we were, again, like I said, a bunch of young guys. They had like St. Pierre, Dan Paille, Dustin Brown, Cam Jansen. No, not them.
No.
But Jansen was sort of like the opposite or the
Bois.
counterpoint of Bois.
Yeah.
And he was just running around
He could do whatever he wanted.
because he knew Danny Bois was in.
So
he's up
not
in the
having
sand.
Danny made a difference.
Huge.
For
sure,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and he can play hockey pretty good
Yeah,
too.
and I don't know. You take a leader, in any
huge.
business or sport, and you just go, we're gonna come out.
Yeah.
It's, I don't want to say it's tough. Like, you're still battling, but like, that's our guy. You know.
He was a great guy, man. Right from the woods, eh?
Yeah,
That guy,
Thunder Bay.
Right from the
Thunder
far.
Bay.
He was like a bear, that guy, man.
That's far.
Yeah, yeah.
So then our following year, after we lose to Guelph, sort of upset. I think at the time we were number 1 CHL team or a number 1 team in Canada, CHL. I don't want to say rightfully so or not, but like, we were a entertaining team to watch, and we were just a bunch of young guys. And then the following year, I know for me, that year after we lost, I was pissed off because I was like, we're winning this. Like, we're winning everything. And then we obviously got knocked off by Guelph, and I was just so pissed. I remember leaving fairly quickly to go back home. I was just like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the right thing to do or not. I just was so mad that we didn't do what we wanted to or what I thought we were going to do. And then the following year was when we came in. We started the year 31 games unbeaten, smashed everyone. The funny story, the game we lost as a team, we were all the way for World Juniors. So myself.
Oh, is that what happened? Is that when we?
When we were on an unbeaten
just
streak.
Just you two?
No, well, no. We were on an unbeaten. We were on an unbeaten streak. Probably 28 games.
27 or 28. Yeah.
28 games. Oh, the game to the game to beat the record, the CHL record was we played Guelph, the team that just beat us like the year before. And we play at home, and I think it's game 29. So we don't lose this game. We have the record, right? We play this game, and Guelph was like a sub-average team. They made the playoffs, but they were just like hard-working team, whatever. But they had a goalie in net, Adam Dennis. He was a stud against us the year before. We played them. I don't know what the shots are. We could probably look them up, but we tie the game 0-0 to extend the streak. Because we were still undefeated. Back then, there was no shootouts, right? If there was shootouts, I'm sure he's going to score every time. Yeah, so we would have been better. But anyways, it's 0-0. We tie, extend the streak, and then we had one more game, I think, and then we all left, not all, but a bunch of us left the World Juniors. Us two, myself, Corey, Dave Bolin, Rob Schremp, Dan Fritchie. Did Gerald Coleman leave? Or no? He stayed back?
No,
he stayed? Yeah. Okay. So the five of us all left. And Shrumpy and Dan Fritchie are U.S., Corey, myself, and Dave Bolin are in with Canada. And I think we played 2 more games. And I remember we were at World Junior Training Camp.
The wrestler's house.
Yeah, Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho's parents.
You guys were at his house?
His parents' house. Yeah. So Chris Jericho.
How'd you guys end up there?
Because Chris Jericho's dad played with Brent Sutter, who was our coach of the World Juniors.
They're buddies.
So they're buddies. So we went there, and this is like, I don't say middle of nowhere, Manitoba. Manitoba's like, it's middle of nowhere, Manitoba, but it is. So we end up going to their house for a team dinner, and this is pre-cell phone, all that stuff era. And so they had like a landline computer on the upstairs.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
So
Really?
this place is like it's almost like a log cabin-ish feel, like cottage. Yeah, like a cottage feel. So we're all the players are sort of on the couch and laying down watching TV. And it was actually sort of cool because they gave us like a pump-up video to go off to play World Juniors. But it was like in wrestler fashion. So it was like all the Canadian WWF guys at the time, which is WWE now. But so like Jericho, Benoit, Harts, like all the Canadian guys. But it's funny because they're like, you guys go out there and just give it to them as much like in a wrestler fashion.
Like sticks.
Well, like it's in absolute wrestler fashion, giving us the promo. So anyways, I remember the guys running up and down the stairs. It was like, I think it was Weber and it might have been Fanoff, but it was Weber for sure. And they kept going up and hitting refresh. And they're like, London, it's 3-2. Like, and in our head, we're going, we're still going to win this game. You know, like we're not losing this game. And then we end up losing. They end up running up and down, and it's like we lost to Sudbury, I think. Like I don't know what 5-3, maybe an empty netter.
Were they even that good that year?
No. But you're missing a core nucleus, right?
Part of the team. Yeah.
And so we end up losing I think it's 5-3 or something, and our whole team was just like like screw
the whole house cheered.
Really?
Losing it, yeah. And we sort of looked at each other like, okay, the bullseye is like now this big on us, right?
Yeah.
But it was, I mean, we ended up
a cool experience to be a part of. But
obviously playing World Juniors, won World Juniors together. His story was, I'm not trying to take over the whole thing here, but like your story was unique with the World Juniors because you were leading the OHL in scoring. And goals, maybe?
I led the camp and scoring,
like the main camp.
World,
And
our camp was crazy because we went off to.
Who was on that team? What other big?
Oh, everyone! You can go look it up. It was like Bergeron, Crosby, Phaneuf, Weber,
really,
Perry, Getzlaff, Stewart, Richard. Yeah, it was like a stud team. Yeah. Don't know why I was there, but I made it. Anyways,
don't undermine yourself. You're good, bud.
But our training camp, they took us to. I want to say Gimli, Manitoba.
Yeah, it was.
I think that's where like Crown Royal is made. But we're on this probably really nice place in the summer where it's like it looks onto water. But like when we walked into this little like lodge looks into water, it's December 19th. And like we put our like metal keys in the door and open it up, and it has a walkout to the water. Well, the snow is just whistling in under the door of that. So like everyone walks into the room, and you're like, it's like a half snowdrift in your room. You had to roll towels, right? I did, anyways.
I don't know how he remembers all this.
I know,
That's
eh?
crazy.
He remembers everything. He's a computer.
You had to roll towels like and shove them under the door. I was rooming with Braden Coburn, and we're like, oh my! Like I had an absolute snowdrift. Coburn's like 6'5", 220, and I'm like 6 foot 200, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna take the bed that's closest to the snowdrift, right? But anyways, at that camp, it was like you can ask like the TSN reporters and everyone that was there. They're like, this is the most intense camp that they've ever seen. Like there was guys fighting each other and shit. Like it was wild. Like and Brent Sutter is like he's a farm boy, demands like intensity. And it was just like Battleville everywhere.
Battles everywhere. Oh, that's the whole.
He coached like that through his whole career, eh?
I think so.
Bears,
Yeah.
I would assume so.
But it was like
in Calgary.
He's done now. I think he's done.
It's his brother. That's his brother.
Daryl.
Brent. He might have been in Calgary, but anyways, so Phaneuf. So Brent Sutter was a coach for Red Deer. Phaneuf and Colin Fraser played together on Red Deer. They fought each other in our training camp.
Yeah.
Two teammates from
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted it that bad.
So anyways, fast forward to now. The team's sort of penciled in, I'll say, where it's like, you know.
You guys know? I mean, he
now
knew, you did you know you were on it?
I knew
you were on it.
I knew I was doing well.
Yeah.
Like so was he, but I also knew that like when the media grabs a hold of something, they're usually right.
Yeah.
So it's like Corey Perry on the outside. I'm going like, holy fuck, how is this possible, right? So we end up playing the University of Manitoba men's
All-star team.
whatever CIS.
You guys beat them?
Not CIS. Is it CIS?
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat them 6-1. But they're like former WHL players that have graduated and now they've gone on to be like guys that go to Western University. They're like 24-year-olds.
Which is still a big accomplishment.
For sure.
Top playing men at this time, right?
Yeah. No. And we're playing where the Jets play now. At the time, they didn't have a team. So MTS Center, or it's called Canada Life Center now or whatever. But we're playing there, and they come out of the gates, and it's like everyone's sort of like, we're just going like, oh my God, they're trying to kill us. And they were trying to.
Sounds like the Russian Red Army in 1970.
Trying to kill us. So we end up winning 6-1. He gets a hat trick. I don't know if you got an apple or not, but for sure a hat trick.
3, yeah.
And I was so pumped because I'm like, he was on like sort of the, is he going to make it? Is he not? I'm like, how you cut a guy after
what are you
a hat
talking
trick,
about?
right?
Yeah.
So he ends up getting a hat trick. And I swear to God, if he didn't get a hat trick that game, he wasn't making our team. Then he makes the team as our 11th forward. Let's call it the 13th forward. Let's call it. And he ends up on
13th forward.
He makes it.
So I'm rooming with Sean Bell, and that morning they did it in the morning.
The calls.
It was like
shitty. 6
a.m.
a.m.
Year before I got cut at 6 a.m. They called the room.
Holy shit.
Hey Corey, come down to the lobby with your gear.
She's here.
My roommate answered the phone. He's like, "Yep," and he handed me the phone.
Pierre's heart just dropped through the floor, eh?
So this year they're like, "Hey, we're not going to call you early. It'll be after. I think it was like 8 or 9 a.m." So we're sitting there, we're like wide awake at 5. We're sitting there.
Can't sleep.
Phone rings. Like, no. Hands me the phone. I'm like, not again. Answer the phone. It's Brent Sutter. He goes, come on up. We got to talk to you.
What time is this?
It was like 9 a.m. I think, or something.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I never.
Yeah, it was in the morning.
I never got a call, so I was like,
it wasn't early.
I guess I'm on it.
Did you think you were done?
Oh,
You thought 100% I'm done.
100%.
Yeah.
I thought I was finished. I don't know what happened here.
I need the screen. You just gotta scroll in there.
Yeah, we're good.
Hold on, wait. Go back to your.
Yeah, so I got a call at 9 a.m. I'm pretty sure it was 9 a.m. It was early, but not where you're waking up with a phone call like an alarm.
Even though you're up at 5 waiting for the
Even
call.
though we're still up. Called me and he's like, come on up. All right, not again. Here we go. Walk up. up the stairs. Didn't take the elevator. Walked up the stairs. Got there
It's like an
Take
execution.
my time there.
got there quicker. Came in, sat down, and it was kind of a room, and everybody's sitting around.
Like all the brass.
Yeah, and he goes, "What would you do to be on this team?" I go, "I don't know. Fill up water bottles, do anything. I'll be a 13 forward. I'll do anything. Pick up pucks after practice." He goes, "How about you go cut your hair?"
What?
Because I had long hair at that time. I go,
Sure.
"Okay, that's it." He goes, "Yeah, you made the team, and tell some of your friends to go cut their hair too." So I think there was what, like 6, 8 of
Oh
us
my God.
that we're staying.
So
in the
you were
hotel,
penciled in as the 13th forward.
13 forward.
And so how
No,
did
well,
they-
he made it as a 13.
sorry,
he wasn't
made it-
penciled
right,
in.
right, right.
Yeah.
Now
So-
I made the team as a 13 forward, and had to get all these guys to go cut their hair.
I was one of them too.
And how did it transpire? Like, were you the leading scorer on the team, or were you one of the top guys on the team that year?
But like, well,
for the
World
tournament?
Juniors?
Yeah.
Oh, he was on the top
No,
line.
Well,
So how
that,
did- how
that,
did
that
that-
didn't happen. It was I was a 13 forward, and then we had an exhibition game, and Jeremy Colleton hurt his knee. He was playing with Bergeron and Crosby, and he was a right winger, bright shot, and ended up hurting his knee in the first exhibition game, and then I think
And he's like a
They
defensive.
slid you in-
He's
they
a
slid
defensive
you in there.
forward.
yeah, and they all of a sudden they put me there for the rest of the game and kind of took off, and the rest is history. That was my line. Crosby,
That was it.
Bergeron.
Wow, that's what a line
And
that would have
we
been.
took it and ran, and
Yeah.
it was the rest is history.
And was that was the year that we beat Crosby in the
finals.
Mem Cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember Crosby came to my gym in PEI because Andy O'Brien was training him, and he's from PEI, so he would bring him there for a couple weeks to train. And I asked him, I said, were we better than you guys? And he still didn't want to admit it. He goes,
Oh, no shit.
He goes, we had to play that extra game.
Oh.
I don't remember exactly how it worked. He goes, listen, that team was really
They
good.
won 7-2, I think.
But I think if
They
we
played
were,
Ottawa.
Yeah, they won 7-2.
did we beat them bad or no?
4-0.
4-0.
I mean, you don't
Yeah.
score a goal; it's
No.
bad. But like I think their game to. So you were the top seed, so we advance into
went
the
to the
finals.
finals.
Yeah, we go right
They
to the
had-
final. They have to play a semifinal game,
Yeah.
and I think it was against Ottawa, and I think it ended up. I think it was 7-2. So it's not even like a game.
Right.
It's like it's over. Like it's
done.
a 7-2
It's done.
game.
I still have that newspaper article of you. I have it at the gym, and I'll show it to you tomorrow. I think it's in there about when you were going to Team Canada and they were contemplating whether you're going to make the team or not. Carter was there too, I think.
Carter made it, yeah.
Carter was there, right? And I think there was something on him too, but
Also elbowing Dylan Hunter in the face. One of the pictures of the
that one's in there too, yeah. But no, I mean, that was amazing. Like, and so that's what I wanted to kind of go through again was, Corey's accolades, and I've got my iPad in here. I'm just going to kind of look at, points. 1,257 games, pairs? Is this up to date?
Yeah, it's accurate.
417 goals. Mark Hunter says if you get 25, he's taking us out to the keg. Can't wait to see
That'll be
that
the
one.
first
I got a
time.
$50
That'll be the first
I got
time.
a bet on the
Bears wants to stay around to get the 500
The
goals.
keg.
He wants 500.
The keg.
Jeez, we used to go to where did we used to go?
What?
Tiger Jacks.
466 assists,
down there, so-
plus 51, 883 points. I think it's more than that now, isn't it, Parrish? You got more points. Is that it? 883, right?
Couple phantoms in there.
Yeah.
What would be?
No, I don't mean that's it. I meant
What would be your most proud stat you have?
Personal stat.
Penalty minutes.
Just personal. No, just like it doesn't have to be totals. It could be a year thing. It could be
Well,
What-
scoring 50 goals.
100%.
That's
And what year was that? That was in Anaheim?
2010, 2011.
that's the year you won
The year
Rocco
I won.
Richard.
Yeah, Richard and the Hart.
And the Hart Trophy, yeah, that's what it
That
says.
was I mean, how many guys score 50 goals?
Yeah,
in
no,
the
no.
Well,
NHL?
but
To say I
then
did that,
the rules have changed.
no, I
So,
know,
like,
but even
no, I know guys are, but I'm saying like back then you're scoring 50 goals with guys that are Chris Pronger size, 6'5",
Yeah.
6'8", mauling you, hooking, grabbing. That nowadays
You don't get that.
You can't lift your stick horizontal. It's a penalty.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
the only
You know.
one to score 50 that year.
Really?
Oh,
I
yeah.
was 50 right on. Yeah. So I mean that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um,
What
I
a line
had
that was. You, Getzlaff, and who was the other guy?
Bobby Ryan.
3 of you all the time. Was that like standard all the time? Like for a few years, they didn't separate you guys.
Yeah, it was probably 2-3 years, something like that.
And
3 years, 4
PP,
years.
first
Yeah.
PP, right?
Oh, yeah.
No.
it is.
You weren't.
Huh?
Were you first?
Was that
CP?
Nate?
You guys were young though, weren't you, or no?
No, that was like my
Oh, okay.
fifth, sixth year. I started in 05, 06.
Did you? Okay, so switching a little bit, but like, did you sign? So normally, your entry level is 3 years.
Yeah. And I signed a 5-year.
Then you signed a 5-year. Would that be like your considered bridge? What was your?
It was like 5.5.
So that's sort of
5.6.
that's sort of bridges.
Yeah.
And then the next one is a bigger
The
one.
8-year.
Okay.
What is a bridge?
So a lot of teams will like entry
They'll
like
do a 2-3 year deal after.
teams that have great success are when you have your guys that are on entry level, which are capped at what 950,000, like Butch Bedard 950.
I don't even know anymore.
I think it's like
I think
950.
975.
Somewhere around there.
So like you have him for 3 years at that salary.
Right.
So it's like if you can get those guys to contribute, and they had a good team. They had like Solani and they were young cats. And then
Is Korea there too?
No, it was before me.
Before
and then
you
a bridge contract is sort of like, we will owe you a big number, but just take this one for
right
us.
now.
So yours was what?
5.5. Same as Getzlaff.
Five,
Same deal.
So that's what I mean.
5
So
years,
they did
5.6.
that. They were like, you know what? We're going to give you this for a chance to give us more money to.
So the cap was in place then. It
Oh,
was
yeah,
in place
yeah.
at that. Yeah,
My first year, the cap was $39 million.
39 million.
Yeah,
Wow.
something like that.
Now it's 80.
And that was because I remember
Agreed.
when I was in New York, the lockout happened in what, 04, 05? Or was it 05?
04, 05.
Oh,
four.
that's the year. That's the year we
Final year.
played.
So that's when it.
That's
it-
why our World Junior team was so good, because there was guys that him, Getzlaff,
Could've been in the NHL
Fanouf.
Yeah, guys couldn't play in the NHL.
Right.
We weren't allowed
So
to.
that you guys
Or
came
the
down.
AHL, so they had
Right.
to play in junior.
Yeah.
And then Bergeron was playing in the American League because he made it as an 18-year-old. So he was allowed to go to the American League and play.
He made the NHL. As
The
a
NHL as an 18-year-old.
He was cut. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look this up because I'm maybe gonna say this wrong. But he was cut from his like AAA minor midget
I
team,
heard something
Really?
about that. Yeah, I heard something about that.
Really?
like or Major Bantam or whatever, and then made it the next year, and then was in the queue, and then the next year he's in the NHL. He was like,
So,
what?
so he played 1 year, then went to the NHL from the queue, or 2 years. in the
One,
queue.
no, he was one.
One,
He was
yeah.
but he was the year, probably his draft year, the year before his draft year, he didn't make AAA,
Yeah.
and then he made AAA his
So
draft year.
It's like Frogget that you made single and go from single
Yeah.
and then right to triple.
and then got drafted, and then played next year in the queue, and then next year in the show. It's like,
And how like
this guy got cut. Someone cut him.
What's the lowest age you're allowed to technically?
and 18
18.
NHL.
Yeah, you get drafted at 18.
And then there's also 2 drafts depending on the months of your birthday.
Well, it's different.
Or
Little,
2 years. Sorry.
it's broken up, yeah, because anyway, I think it's September 15th.
September 15th. If you're born after that, you slide into the next
The
year.
next
Yeah.
year. The,
Like-
the year
yeah.
that's younger than you.
Like-
You started in the American Hockey League, right, Paris?
I played 15 games.
So right away,
In the
like right
NHL?
away,
In the
15
NHL?
games, yeah. How many points do you think you had in that? Were you doing all right?
Like, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to play with men
Yeah.
Yes.
like I had a thing on my phone here. I wanted to it's talking about odds of making the NHL.
Oh, there it is. I seen that.
Odds of making the NHL. There's 560,000 minor hockey players in Canada. 0.7% of them are drafted to major junior. 0.2% are drafted into the NHL. And 0.025 of those are players that make the NHL and have a career. The average career length is 5.5 years, and there's 690
NHL
players.
Yeah.
So everyone's like obviously everyone wants to play, but like he's been there for 16 years. So he's one player that's been there.
This will be 19.
No,
19, whatever.
years.
Like,
I was saying, that sounds
Once
a
you
little...
get past 60,
Yeah.
Corey, you're
It was like,
aging
great,
yourself
I'm
like
35
really
years
fast.
old
You're
now.
going to be like 50 soon. But so 690 players play in the NHL. One of those has been occupied by him for the last 20 years. So like no one's moved, like not no one, but like it's hard to move on.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have to be like exceptional, and that's where like he started up, came back down, and then the next year.
Yeah, he ripped it up down. I think
Yeah.
he ripped it up in the American.
You have to do something exceptional.
So you got called back up the rest of that year. Like you went
Yeah,
down.
I got sent down in November, and then Getzlaff and I at the same time.
Getzlaff too.
Yeah, and then actually, I played 19 games, 34 points. I'll never forget it.
In the A?
In the A.
Jesus.
I had a 17 game point streak to start my American.
Did they put you in the first line right away? Like were you
Yeah, it was Getzlaff, Penner, and myself.
Penner was there.
Yeah, and it was.
So who gave you the call? Does the coach? Does the head coach give you the call, or who calls you to say, "Hey, you're coming up"?
Yeah, it was Kevin Deneen. Called Getzy and talked to him and
Called both you guys up.
no, well, I remember being in the car. Getzy got a call, and he goes, "Oh, thank you, whatever. We'll be. I'm excited and blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
It's like World Juniors.
I'm just watching him. And he's like, "Is Perry with you?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, now you can hand him the phone."
Tell him he can come up too. Bear's like,
So,
yes,
so he handed me the phone. But
yes.
funny story, like the 2 days before, we were in a hotel. Like we were down for 6 weeks, and 5 weeks and 5 days in, they go, "Okay, now you guys go get a place." And we're like, "Oh, all right."
Get a place. We don't know how to do that.
We're in Portland.
How do you get a place?
Maine.
Yeah.
And they're like, they said, go get the place. We have it all set up for you. Go move in. All right. We went out. We got bedding. We got food. We stacked.
I would have loved to see
Stacked.
that. Eh? Two young guys. Like,
stacked the fridge.
yeah.
Stacked the cupboard. 2 days later is when we got the call. Left the food. Left the bedding.
Everything. Gotta
Probably
go.
still there. Cottage cheese is like
No, but
purple now.
It was a team condo or a team apartment, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
2 days later, somebody else moved in. And we're like,
they're happy as shit. Yeah.
No, it's cleaned out.
So, Court, moving away, like I know myself, but like for you, moving away from home as a pro hockey player, 19 years old, how does that like? Do you have any guidance? Do you like? What do you like? You obviously have your teammates.
Yeah.
You went to Anaheim, then you went to Portland.
Yeah.
In Anaheim, were you in a hotel or you have a place?
In Anaheim, I was in a hotel. We had rookie camp like September 5th, and then main camp. Then I made the team. Then started the season, still in the hotel. This is October now. And it was November 10th. I got a letter saying, "Go get a place."
Go get your own place.
Same as Getzlaff. And we both looked at each other like, "Do you want to live together?" No. Yeah, maybe. And we decided not to live together because they're like, "Oh, we're in Southern California. There's gonna be people coming down all the time. We got our own places." Nobody came.
Your parents come. Your parents.
My parents came
your parents
down. They
came,
said,
right?
"Yeah, I was still in a hotel when they came." And
They make your bed though there in the hotel.
yeah,
That's what I did like
Yeah.
about staying in the hotel.
It wasn't terrible,
Yeah.
but you're not cooking your food.
Yeah.
Not that I
No.
could cook anyways at 19, 20 years old.
No.
Getsy cooked all my food. But
Did he?
yeah, oh yeah, he was like,
Chef Boyardee.
yeah, just the old man.
What are we eating tonight, Chef Boyardee?
20-year-old kid acted like he was 35. He'll love that though.
We'll send him
But,
this.
Send him the clip.
But yeah, he lived on the beach, and I was just a street off, and I drive one day, he drive the next day, and I had the same place for almost 4 years.
What were they charging for rent back then, if you don't mind me asking? Like back then,
$3,000.
$3,000 back then.
Yeah.
That was
Wow,
on. That was
that's
a.
crazy.
That was on.
It
was like-
Danny was there one
Yeah.
night.
I remember I had to take Sean Bergenheim's house when I was, because they had me in New York. It was called the Fox Hollow. And it was like a really elite, high level like hotel room, and it probably cost them a lot of money every night.
In the hotel.
And I had to take Bergenheim's, and it was a friggin' 1-bedroom place in Syosset, New York, and it was like same thing, like $3,500 a month, and I'm making like $100,000 a year minus the taxes. So I'm sitting there going $3,500 a month, and I'm paying for my home back, my house
Right.
back
Makes
at home,
no
like in
sense.
London, right? or St. Thomas at the time. And I'm going, holy shit, I have no money left at the end of the month.
So as a young guy, how did you deal with like ups and downs when you were like first entering the league? Because like a lot of people are different. Obviously, when something's not going your way, you're not putting the puck in the net, or some people like go down on themselves and then it gets worse for them.
Did you have any slumps?
I think everybody does.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, like, it started out great. First game,
just banging.
My first
man,
game
eh?
was in Chicago.
Yeah.
10 assists. And then I had a 4-point streak to start my career. 4-game point streak to start my career.
Coach and GM are just like,
They're like, oh, this is
unbelievable.
great.
this was such a
80
good
points.
Goal
80
and
points. Yeah.
Goal and 3 assists in the first 4 games.
Yeah.
And then I was in Detroit. I don't know. This is early November, end of October. So probably like 10, 12 games in. I got elbowed and I got knocked out. And then
like out cold or woozy.
Like I don't remember it.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
out of it.
Like I was out of it.
Concussion?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I missed probably 2 weeks.
Because back then, like concussions weren't a thing.
But
Like it was.
I remember I was still in the hotel in Anaheim, and I was sitting in the hotel, lights off, watching TV.
So they had a protocol for you, right?
No,
like,
but
you just did that.
like I didn't want to see.
You didn't want to be in the light.
I didn't
Yeah,
want to be in
yeah,
the light.
Yeah.
Like I could watch TV for a little bit, and I'd turn it off.
You get a headache.
Yeah. So that happened, and then I got sent down, and it was kind of shitty going.
Yeah.
You make the NHL, and all of a sudden now you're being sent down.
Yeah, and then you're in your.
But I went down. I was like, okay, you know what? Let's just go down and play, and
See what happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
and
Let's go through the
like I
process,
said
right?
earlier, it was I played 19 games. I had a 17-game point streak. I had 34 points, and then we got the call back up.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
like
confidence
January
is there.
2nd. Yeah,
That's a
How
lot.
did,
Of
when you
points.
got back in, were you rolling? Like, did they
In
put you
pro
on a
hockey.
good line right away? Like, were you with?
It was
It was in the posse of you guys.
It was Getzoff and I, and then whoever. Yeah, and sometimes it was Penner.
Like, and it stayed like that for a long time.
Yeah, it was
right?
like that for a
you,
couple of years.
Yeah, you guys were there solid for a bit. I remember that. And Getzoff's a big dude, eh? He looked big on the ice. Is he big?
Yeah, he's a
thick guy.
he's a horse.
Yeah.
He's 6'3". He's always about 220. He might get mad at me.
Yeah.
He might say 215, but
You guys still talk?
220. Oh yeah, we talk all the
Still talk all the time?
Not
Yeah.
after that.
Does he miss playing?
time. Yeah, he does, but I don't think. I think he went out when he wanted to go.
Yeah, he was ready to
And,
go.
Yeah, he was ready to go. And,
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 4 kids and
yeah.
beautiful wife.
You'll know
so
when you'll know when it's time.
Yeah,
I think it's
And I've always told my wife, like, I want to keep playing until
yeah. You're having fun.
till they don't pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
till they don't
he
pay me
involved
anymore.
in Anaheim still or no?
He just signed on as a
Advisor.
something maybe development wise
Okay.
somewhere like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It just happened. So
I remember playing as you guys when I was little in NHL. I think it was that year you won. Oh, it would have been 2010, right?
As like
Or
a
maybe
team,
that would've been
team to
11.
beat.
07 we won.
Oh, so 07. It would have been maybe been 08 where your guys' stats were like super, super high, and you and Getzoff were just flying around the ice like
Oh, yeah.
stop.
You had the wrong guy. that wasn't Perry.
You guys, you guys
That's Pablo Bure.
You guys are. But the guys that are the bigger name guys always have the
Yeah.
most. Like,
You can shoot from
skill.
anywhere. You'll
Yeah,
find that one
yeah.
sweet spot,
And they just
and
go
it's a
like that
flaw in the
every time.
computer,
Yeah.
and they'll just go in every
Fly
time.
down.
I used to have McGillney, like way back when McGillney was playing. It'd be like top of the circle, the same
Yeah.
little area, and guys would get pissed off me every time.
yeah.
Boom, hit it.
But so why you come back to London?
That's it. I never left. I went home. I got drafted here at 16. I played my year. I went to school. And then after the season ended, I went home for, what was it, a month and a half of school left. And then I was back here in July.
What school did you go to here?
I was here, where'd we go?
Saunders?
Oh, back then.
Yeah.
Was it a good school back then?
Yeah, it was good.
The whole team went there. It was like I think they've changed now since then, but like it was cool. Like that's why him and I are really good friends is at the time when when I first came in, the whole team was in the South End by Saunders, and I think that was when the rink was at the Ice House, and then the city put in the rink downtown, and it's like they're going to shift downtown. So you were up here, North area.
Yeah, you had a place on
Masonville.
I was up condo, right?
Well,
I was up here with my uncle.
Billet. Yeah, we're talking billet wise. Like he billeted like Masonville area, and I billeted with a young family, Richmond and Victoria, and we were the only two guys in the North End. So like everyone else is like south. So then you end up like going to Kelsey's and whatever, just us, and then it started to sift this way or whatever. But and then when we turned pro, we had a place downtown. We had a good connection with Tri-Car building just like north of.
Yeah, I heard you guys were staying that. Like you bought a place there, right?
No,
he bought
you rented. Oh, you guys were living together.
We were renting. Yeah, we were renting, which was like was great for us. Like we're
2 summers.
Yeah,
and
like
I bought my place.
Yeah, and then he bought his place, like just similar area where your billet was. Yeah. And then, but like, yeah, it was good for us young guys. Like we'd again go work out, go on the ice, go golf, go for dinner. We could walk back to our place, change. We'd probably frequent Barney's or something, and then like it was like on a repeat schedule. Not that that's the best training module that you can have or whatever, but like I think being in the community, it made us feel like we're a part of it.
100%. Because I'm sitting there, I'm going, he could really live wherever he wanted.
Yeah.
He could live in LA, he could live in Tampa or wherever.
Well, I could stay in Anaheim, and
Anaheim was nice.
But I think when
it
we
was
played,
beautiful. But
when we played too, also when we played, like, with the Knights, we would leave. We would after the game, we would walk up the ramp there to like
the
Concourse 102, whatever it is. Our parents were there. Well, up the ramp, there'd be fans there, like young kids, older people, whatever, and you probably sign the same things for people over and over again. But like it was just like that's what you did.
It was fun. It was enjoyable. Like,
and then and we would do like we would go and be a part of a minor atom practice, push pucks around, or they want to see Corey Perry shoot a puck, he shoots the puck, like
the Oak Ridge Arrows.
And they're, and they're like, oh, he's so good, he shoots the puck so hard. Yeah, no shit. Or like, you know what I mean? Like community involvement. I think that helped us stay here
because like a home away from home.
Yeah, because like for like my biggest attribute here is like that I played for the Knights. Like I was like CHL Defenseman of the Year. We won the Memorial Cup here. Yeah. And people like I was at the rink the other day, like doing the pro skate. And some guy was like, Danny Syvret? I was like, hey, how's it going? Like, and I talked to him for a bit. Like, but like he knew me from my face. Yeah. Because I was like out there. Yeah. But like if you want to treat your community like a stepping stone, like you're the New York Yankees, then that's not going to happen for you, right? So like, I'm not saying how it is now, but like I feel as though there's a lot of players that come through the Knights organization who are really good,
a lot that stay here,
who are really good, but they don't anymore because it's like this is what it's like. You know what? I'm going to play for the Yankees of the CHL, the Knights, and I'm going to just have people come and watch me and play, and then I'm just going to go home. Like, well, you sort of have to have a.
Yeah, you like it here, right, Paris?
It's a community.
Yeah. I mean, like you gotta make people feel like you care.
Well, like we're like as much as London's a big they're the 12th biggest city in Canada, I think, but like we're a junior hockey city.
Yeah. There's a lot of good players.
When the NHL teams come in, Ottawa versus whoever, they have like 6,000 people here. You watch the Knights game, they have 10.
Yes, 10,000 people. Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like it's like but.
It's amazing what they've built over here. I remember that first rink that they had in South London, down off of where the highway was. Yeah. What a dump! But I mean,
I played there my first.
Did you play there? Yeah, you did, eh? But like really nostalgic.
Boards were this high.
Yeah.
People right on top.
Branks of the Tarantula and stuff like that. I was like, but I remember because when I was going to high school, it was funny because I was hanging around with Knights guys like my whole life, and even though I wasn't a hockey guy, I was a football guy. Paul Holden, Who else? Martel. I don't know if some of these names ring a bell. Mark Guy, who was your
Yeah.
agent for a long time. We're going to school with me. We were hanging out. Mike Zombo. Who else was it? Greg Smith. Remember that name?
Bird Dog?
Bird Dog.
Yeah.
Right? He passed away. He was a good buddy of mine too, and grew up with those guys. And it was funny, kind of like I got into training after because I just seemed to always be around the hockey guys all the time, from high school till after.
So how'd you go from us young guys to Islanders, and like I'm not gonna be but like, was that good or bad for business? Like you went like I'm not trying to, but like
no,
but
sure.
you went to Russia. Like, is it?
I tell you, on a business perspective, if I would have just stayed in London, because Pears knows I had all the guys at one point.
Yeah.
If I had to do it over again, I probably would have still did the same thing. Even though, when you leave, you lose your business. People go places, right?
Because of the I'm gonna be that guy.
I wanted to learn. I just wanted that experience. Just like when you guys get drafted. Like I still never remember. I remember it was Dale. He brought it up in the change room during the year, and he's like, "Yeah, New York Islanders are hiring a strength coach, whatever." And I go, "I'd take that job." And he's like, "You want that job?" And like, I would take it. I said, if it was available. He goes, "I'll tell Milbury." Like Dale, like me, was like, I'll tell him you do a good job, whatever. And next thing you know, I was like, got a call from Mike Milbury, flew me down there right away, and I was like, holy shit, like this is happening, right? And it's on. And I'm like, listen, I'm not a university educated guy. Like there was a lot of guys that had their master's degrees and stuff, but I have a lot of practical knowledge. I trained my whole life. Before Pears met me, I was in really good shape. I was always training hard, and I just kind of in the trenches guy. But over the years, I've taken a lot of courses and learned a lot on my own certifications to get better. So I was kind of nervous going into the meeting. I'm going, this guy's going to interview like, he's going to go, what are you doing here, right? But Milbury was kind of that old school guy. And I remember him, I had other 4 or 5 guys in the room out in the hallway waiting. The guys with the glasses and their little notebooks and stuff like that. And I'm just sitting here going, so the conversation went well. He asked me, the Islanders were struggling the first half of the season. This was 2003. And they were struggling. Pears, you weren't there yet. No, you weren't. You were playing OHL. Anyway, he pulls me in. He's like, talks to me. He's asking me questions. He's asking me to give him routines, like training routines to show him what I do in season, off season. I had all that ready, and he liked it. And at the end, when he called me back, he flew us back home. It was done. It was like a 2-day thing I was there for. He just said, he goes, I'm going to hire you. He goes, what do you want for money? And at the time, I didn't even know. I just was like, $100,000. It's like, so, but guys weren't making $100,000 back then. They were not. The strength coaches were getting ripped off. They were making like $60,000. Now these guys, these sports scientists are coming in. They're making like $500,000. They're getting like 2 guys underneath them to work for $150,000. Like, Toronto has that. I'm not sure if every team has that. Like Chicago doesn't. I think they have 1 guy there, right? But anyway, he just said, I like that you were able to motivate guys. You were really good talking to the players. And, you have a background of training that, is kind of like not maybe as book smart as some of the other guys, but you've been there. You've been there and done it. So he hired me. I took the contract, and we had the lockout that year. Just after that, I think it was 2004, 2005.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
And that was kind of crushing because then they were like, hey, it went from, we made the playoffs. We had the best record in the second half of the season. We made the playoffs. We lost to Tampa in the first round. And I think we won the first game, and then we lost the other games. And when they called you in and said, hey, there's going to be a strike, and that's it for your contract. And I still wasn't even paid for the whole season. I just got from the time I was there, I think I left the team around maybe December, January, started getting paid. And then I was like, oh my God, my business is gone now, right? Like it was shitty when I got back. Like I was like, whoa, like everybody's gone now. Guys go with other guys. But you know what? I stayed. I had a visa to stay in New York for a couple of years, and I met some people that were, when you're in that line of business and you're the strength coach for an NHL team, other people are asking you for advice and can you help our organization? So there was like Apple Core Hockey. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Yeah.
Big organization. The Long Island Gulls. And there was one other one too, and I can't remember. But each organization hired me to stay down and work with their team. So I stayed down there for a bit and did that. After about 2 years, I decided to kind of like go, okay, you know what? The visa's running out. These teams would not be able to keep affording to pay a guy like me, let's say, to do that. So what they do is they go, hey, show us how to do this. We'll pay you this much money, and then we're going to do it ourselves and make money. So from there, you just kind of, I came back to London. I opened up a spot in St. Thomas again and just kind of chipped away. And then I was getting other calls from people like I remember Maroon was playing with London at the time, and Philadelphia hired me to help Patrick Maroon out because he was a little overweight at the time. And not like fat or anything like that, but he was bigger, right?
It's husky.
Didn't like training. So anyway, I started helping him.
He was a horse, right?
He was a horse, man. And he could score a lot of points too. Yeah. Like, he was good. So I started kind of getting into, like, I'd have Philly sending me some prospects. I'd have, I talked to Scott Luce he was with Florida at the time. He would send me some prospects. So I started to build it up again. And, like I said, I would never change anything I did. I left, came back. I'm not going anywhere now. Obviously, we have a spot here in London, and it's just a startup, and it's in the basement of a restaurant because during COVID, it hit. Nobody could stay. You couldn't rent a place. You had to close the place down when the restrictions were up.
That was stupid.
So my buddy who owned the restaurant, it was bad. It was bad. Like, think about the guys like me, let's say, who rely on people coming through the door, right?
Yeah. Foot traffic, yeah.
Yeah. So we opened up beside Dale. My sister lives beside Dale Hunter, which is kind of weird. My sister's like, hey, use the garage and you can start training guys there. I'm like, who the? I don't even know anybody. I don't know where I would start from.
Well, me and you were just training in the gym.
So we were training. We put 2 racks in there. It was a 1-car garage. And it was weird because, I started training these 2 hairdressers, these 2 ladies. My sister knew them. Mason knew a couple guys, brought them in. And by the 3rd or 4th month, we have like 50 guys signed up for this summer program. So we had 4 guys coming into this car garage. We did groups of 4 every hour on the hour from like morning till 6 o'clock at night. And we were like, holy shit, cars are pulling in and out of my sister's place like nonstop. And I was like,
all day long.
Okay, something's going to happen here sooner or later. We got to stop this, right? I go, Joanne, I have to get out of here. So I started like driving around looking for a place to rent, but there was nothing available. And I saw a sign at the Four Seasons restaurant. On the thing it said for lease. So the funny thing is, I sold coffee to this guy in the early 90s. That was my job. I was a coffee salesman before I started training. So I call this number up, and I'm like, hey, I'm just calling the sign. I could tell the guys, I could kind of hear, I remember this guy's voice. His name was Cliff. Sophocles was his name, Greek guy. He's like, Sophocles.
Yeah. But it goes by Cliff.
By Cliff.
Okay. Same.
He's like, Spero. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how you doing? And so we started talking. He's like, listen, I got something for you, right? And this is kind of like, if you're Greek and you're in that, they would help you out, right? This is family type thing, right? My dad sold coffee to this guy. Yeah. They had a really busy business there. Like, it was very good food. And so he goes, listen, I got a banquet hall downstairs, like 2,000 square feet. He goes, I'll give it to you. You can put some whatever you want to do in there. And, our block is for sale. Like, I'm selling the restaurant. They own the place beside it, another place beside it. But they've had it for sale for a long time. Like, they're asking, quite a bit of money. And
big
they'll
number,
get it
yeah.
eventually.
Well, eventually,
it's
yeah.
a prime location. So we went and bought 1,000 square feet of turf, 1,000 square feet. We put in like a weight room, right? And then it just...
They're going to charge you for the dicks on the wall on the way down?
I'm telling you, there's guys the other day, it happened again this morning. Guys got 3 plates on each side of the squat rack. And what does he do? He takes all 3 plates off.
No!
And that bar just goes flying into the wall again.
It's the wall.
A guy who's coach, not going to mention it.
Yeah.
In the past.
So I'm like, these guys have been lifting weights for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? They should know this.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, they helped me out in there, and now it's grown. It's like we're busy. We have a lot of good high end, young AAA guys that you guys coach.
Yeah.
Guys from other teams.
You have the best athletes in the city, like
for the age groups. Yeah,
for the age groups, for sure.
Which is weird because we do both Elgin AAA minor midget, and we do the London Junior Knights minor midget. Most of the guys,
it's competitive, but at the same time, it's like they all want to go to the same spot. So like, even though they're playing against each other, they're still sort of buddies because they probably go to school together and shit, training. But it's just like they understand like who's good. Like it's not gonna be like
they want to be with players that are
that
are equal to them or
exactly.
better.
That's what they're doing. They're thriving off that competition and stuff. And you know, it's like Trevor Gallant. Like I went to high school with him. I'm running into like, you know, guys who I coached earlier on. Their kids are now playing. Right. Corey's got a younger guy. You got some younger kids. Are still. I'll probably be in a casket by that time, but I'm saying like I'm running into guys like, well, Beaulieu's got a kid. Right?
Yeah,
you guys both play with Beaulieu.
Well, it's a trust thing too. It's like we know that you've done well for us when we were 19, 20 years old and beyond, and Corey's still going.
I appreciate that, man.
But it's like. Hopefully you're not in a casket. If you are, then it's Mason. But like when our kids are coming up, it's like, okay, we're gonna go to Spero, or if Spero's in a casket, then we go to Mason, right?
We'll go to Mason, right? Yeah.
But like it's just like I don't know. You just respect what like you've been like for you and I have been around a lot of other strength guys or. You know,
you see what works and see what doesn't. And
people's different ways.
You have a really good way of connecting with the players or athletes, whatever you want to call them,
but you makes it fun too.
Yeah, and fun, and you get pushed. Like we talked about earlier on about like finding a way to connect to people. Mm-hmm. You can't be like, I'm a fucking drill sergeant, hard ass. No. You gotta find ways, and then eventually that kid will work really hard for you. Yeah, and you have a good
show the guys respect, and you know, like you said, Corey, you gotta have some fun. Yeah, like you know, Corey works hard, but we have fun in there too, and it's
it's fun. It's fun when you say, you know what, Aerodyne bike, let's warm up. Then we got sprints on
this interface is wrong. There's no RPMs
on the treadmill. And then we got bike sprints after.
Yeah.
So we're going to have fun today.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, when Pears came through the door, it was like, I have these dreams sometimes. I know it sounds kind of weird. I connect with this player again that I was close to at one time. And when he came through, buddy, I was like, Fred, this is awesome. Me and Mace are so pumped to have him in the door. And I said to Mace, I don't even care if I ever have like another I've done a lot of NHL guys in my life. So I like training the kids. They're fun. You can tell them what to do, they'll do it. But when he walked in, it was like that's our fun time, right? When he comes in,
it's early. That's like
it's like
done so much. And
oh my god!
Still comes to the gym and works hard. Even for me as a young guy, like he's seen more of it than I have. I played, but guys that are come into the gym and they've been playing for a long time and it's the same old routine. And when it starts to look like that, then it's not really.
And Mace could sleep in the morning, but he's like, no. He gets up. He gets up. He wants to come in, right? And then there's those groups of guys that just do that for you, right? They're like they're there. They want to work and they have fun, and that's what makes my job fun, right? At the end of the day. But, you know, and I'm not going to take anything away from Civvy. It's awesome. Me and Civvy get up when the summer's over.
Well, yeah.
Because then we'll start work till 3 o'clock.
When all the athletes leave.
Yeah, we just chill.
Then we come in.
He's got kids, so.
I come in.
He drops them off.
It's a different time now.
Yeah.
Routine is he drops them off.
100%.
Drops them off and he goes, all right, I'm in the parking lot. Sometimes we'll be in the park. It's funny. We'll be in the parking lot for 2 hours on the phone. He'll be in his car and I'll be on mine taking calls, and we're supposed to be in the gym working out.
I'll get to the gym and they'll still be in the car, and I'll be like, okay, we're coming in now. Yeah. How long have you been here? 2 hours.
All right, so I want to just touch a little bit on off-season training, like some things that you've noticed that have transpired in the last 5 to 10 years. Go back now 10 years, Pears, you would have been where 10 years ago? What team? You would have been Anaheim?
Anaheim, yeah.
Anaheim. Sean Scahan was the strength and conditioning coach there at the time?
Yeah, he was there.
Sean was there, yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, and what kind of training? Did you ever stay there in the summer to train or no?
Never stayed. Always came back.
Yeah.
It was just like we were talking earlier. London was home. And
that's where he came.
Just came back, yeah.
So what do you see in terms of a difference? And this is no knock against anybody because I was in that position 10 years ago doing different types of training, and now I've changed and adapted. in season, what were they doing? What's different now compared to 10 years ago that you notice? The workouts.
Well, obviously practices got shorter. So you have that a little bit of extra time to work out. So in Anaheim, we were working out after every game. And then we come back in the morning, and there'd be some sort of little lift or a little something before practice. But now they leave the workout. You don't do the workout after the game.
That's gone now.
In Tampa, we didn't really work out after the game. But we come back in the morning, and there'd be a
lift.
Pretty good lift.
Yeah.
Yeah, it not heavy or anything, but
no.
something to get you going, just a little lift.
Yeah. Like
then
what,
you go
25, 30 minutes?
25, 30 minutes, and then you go out and practice for an hour, where before it was an hour and a half practice, and then you'd have 2 lifts from a game to a practice. 12 hours later, you'd have 2 lifts.
Right.
So, those things have kind of changed a little bit because guys are in shape now. Guys are bigger. Guys are stronger. Guys do a lot more.
Guys
now.
know they have to be prepared.
Nowadays, they do a lot more.
Yeah,
right?
they know they have to be prepared.
Yeah, so, and then if you're not getting enough, you do it right. Do it on your own. Do your thing.
So will they let you do some, like if you want to do something on your own, like most guys are pretty good. Like I know 100%. I would be if a player that played 100%. As long as you did, they'd be like, hey, I'm comfortable doing this. No problem.
Like obviously I'm not playing as much anymore. Like I used to play 20, 22, 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Now I'm playing 10, 12. If I get to 14, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
It's so after a game, I might ride the bike and
get some extra intervals.
Yeah, little intervals. Like
mimic what the first line guy would get. Let's say,
I like my 4-minute ride.
Yeah.
And 8 sprints in 4 minutes.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I like to do after a game if I don't play as much. So yeah, those things have kind of changed.
And the analytics, obviously, right? Like I see they've started to kind of track people's heart rates more and kind of look at how much time spent on the ice, how much time spent in the practice. Are they doing that?
Yeah, there's
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, in Tampa we had. I don't even know what it was called anymore, but you wore
accelerometers. They would just be
wore a shirt.
Yeah,
I think it was Catapult. Maybe?
Catapult. Yeah.
And there'd be things around the rink, tell you how far you went. I don't even know what it does.
Well, it just
because it goes
basically
from, from the trainer to the coach, and then they talk and.
I think that's the only thing
like
I find
load, whatever.
shitty about that is kind of like you're at the rink, you do it at the rink, and that's great. But when you leave, it doesn't monitor any more information, but. I guess they got to do it. They got to have information. I think it's helpful. I mean, there's no question about it. But I still believe that sometimes I know they were trying to do this, and I'm not sure if it was Vancouver or more than just one team. They were trying to make guys wear these monitors 24/7. Mm-hmm. Did they try that at any time when you were playing, like in the last 5 years, or no?
No, they haven't. Some guys do. Some guys wear the whoop or whatever, right? So, I wore it for a little bit. I went to the bubble in Edmonton, and I was wearing it religiously, throughout COVID. Then I went to the bubble, and I played one game with it. I woke up in the morning after the game, and it was like 20%. I was like, but I feel great.
Exactly.
And I was at 20% recovery. I don't know. It's not nothing against the woo. It's just the way I felt.
No, and that's the thing is like
it's just at the end of the day, it's how you feel, and
100%. I think you get caught up a lot with times with it. Like you can sit and go over analyze stuff. Should I do this? Should I not do this? And I think that's where I have a little bit of a problem with analytics. I think, I think it's good for some stuff. There's no question about it. But I think when you get into that. Wearing it all the time and relying on it. And I have a couple guys at the gym.
I think for training day-to-day life and not playing hockey, not, like I wore for the game and whatever, but take the game out of it, I think it's great.
100%.
Because you look at it, you went to the gym in the morning, then you went and walked 18 holes, played golf. Then maybe you had a couple beers. and then now that brings everything
Everything
down.
down, right?
You might need
Yeah.
recovery day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then when you're on your good days, then you're working a little bit harder. You
But
know,
nothing would stop or prevent a player from, just like you've probably had it before too. As soon as you get to the rink, you're like, the computer could say this, and you look and
but
go,
mentally, I feel,
I'm ready to go, man.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel
I am ready to go.
95%.
Yeah, 100%.
No, I know. It's because we played back-to-back games 12, 14, 50 times a year. So the computer could say something,
Doesn't matter.
but
Yeah.
for me, back-to-back games, I feel better the second.
The second game, yeah, because you've got your feet, right? You're going. Yeah.
It's just weird. I don't know. Like,
No,
you go to
I
bed
think
at-
that's just life. I think that's
like you get on a plane, travel, go for 2 hours, fall asleep at 4 o'clock in the morning, up at 10,
yeah.
and then you're at the rink at 4.
Were they doing that, Civvy, with you when you were in Philly, or that wasn't there yet?
No, like we had
Doug
like
Crossan was there, right? He was the
we had like
strength
sleep
conditioning guy.
we had like sleep doctors and everything come in. This was like back in like 2010. So it was like new era at the time. Now, like obviously, like technology has evolved more than that. But like we had like a guy that come in and like talk to us about like how to sleep and how
Rest
you
and
need,
recovery.
which is good. But like at the end of the day, it's like
actually
I
tell you
close
how
my
to sleep.
I close my eyes and I
Can't sleep.
go like my job is to go to bed.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what my brain is doing during that time or my recovery system or whatever, but.
No.
But they like that. They were trying to be groundbreaking, I think, at the time. Like
It's hard to go from a game and go to bed.
Yeah,
100%.
you're
well
cranked.
done.
You're
well
cranked.
I'm up till
1:30.
1:30.
Especially if you had a good game. You're
I
still
know.
right. You're like, I'm jacked right now. Like I can't go to bed. Yeah. It's the same thing in business. I know if I have a good day or whatever, like in business or a good month or whatever, you're just kind of like full of energy, man.
Yeah, you're right.
You want to go.
What about for you? Like, do you ever feel you're like at a certain point you're like I'm overdoing it on like training or skating or whether it be summer skating or I'm on the ice, like I just need to.
He's pretty good like that. I'm just gonna speak for you, Corey.
Yeah.
I notice with him, he will go by how he feels, and he'll tell you straight up, I'm coming in or I'm not. Like he's usually there all the time, but that's what I notice with you. You're like, you know your body, you know what works for you, right?
Yeah, I do. Well, I would say I've been doing it
forever
for a while,
Yeah.
so kind of understand a little bit more than.
Yeah.
So
I just feel like
once you start learning your body and how it feels, and I mean,
100%. Yeah,
you have to listen to your body.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of, pretty much ever since my knee surgery, I've kind of
listen to your body
a
more.
little bit.
Yeah, no,
and
I
go
mean,
from there.
because if you sit and you like I said, you try to overanalyze stuff, or you try to. We have some guys that just overdo it, plain out overdo it. It's like a rat race. They've been drafted, and I got
that's what I was sort of getting at is like
it's crazy.
the amount of like fear of missing out because my kid isn't playing in a tournament in Chicago, it's like I need my kid to be playing more and be on the ice more. It's like I think the best aspect is for your guy to get stronger and do stuff off the like because the amount of times you can go on the ice like 7 times a week compared to 7 days in the gym, you're gonna be more beneficial doing in gym stuff than on ice.
100%.
Right?
It'd be like me saying, Corey, go run 10 kilometers for 4 days in a row and go play in a real game on Friday. You have no legs. So they're they don't understand.
But for you now, like obviously it's a little bit different. Like when you're like we're speaking on like Mason and I are teaching kids that are grade 9, 10ish, trying to make it into the OHL. You're now at a pro aspect. Like how many times are you on the ice in a week?
So
like right now, like in the summer, off season.
Off season once, maybe twice, and that's only for power skating.
Yeah.
And that's I started power skating 5-6 years ago. I used to do it a lot when I was a little bit younger, and then obviously I thought I was in the
Because
NHL.
there's young guys that are on the ice multiple times a day, let alone a week, and they're expecting to get stronger or better, which is like understandable. But it's like,
but
you're better.
I think, like I tell my kid, he's 6. We're not playing hockey every single day. Let's go golf. Let's let's play baseball.
Yeah.
Let's until you get to a certain age, and it's like okay, we're gonna do hockey. But at the same time, like you have to take a break. Like for me, I take 3 weeks off after the season.
Yeah,
3 weeks. Do nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I come back. I start in a gym. So this year I started in early June.
Yep.
Or end of May actually. And then I worked my way through. I started skating mid-June, once a week, power skating. I went up to twice a week, and now it's early August, and
you just started getting on the ice
3 times a week.
Yeah.
And then, so I still have 5-6 weeks left before camp, where I don't want to burn myself out, because you're on your skates from September 20th start of camp until if you go to the Stanley Cup Finals, it's end of June.
Yeah,
you could be on your skates twice a day. Game days you skate in the morning, then you play, so it adds up after a while.
Yeah, my issue is like I'm not in the hockey development thing, like program, like that's not my job, but like try to put together, like with Spero, like the best program, right? Where it's like, you know what, twice a week, or maybe, and you can crank it up to 4 times a week, is like as you get closer to the season start.
To camp. Right.
Yeah, that's the best avenue, 100%. Sort of. So it's like you just sort of know your avenue, and you're like, I'm going to stick to that little ballpark. And then you're finding out that like some of your guys are on the ice like 3 hours before they come on to your ice for another hour. And you're like, that's 4 hours in one day, and like I can't even. And at the end of the day, you're like,
and they're doing that twice a week,
or more probably.
More.
Like it's like a rat race. So like I can't not be on the ice. It's like, well, as a like you can't get like not to be prude to the rest of the city and development or whatever, but like you're not going to learn a lot in the times that you're on the ice. But the fact that you can go into the gym and get stronger, that's going to be better for you than going and stick handling, doing fucking flow drills and shit, or shooting around an obstacle. That's going to get you so good for, so like you just said, you're on the ice once, maybe twice a week.
Yeah.
Albeit you're a elite pro, but like these kids are on the verge of being close to making it. Why do they feel so inept to have to? I
think it's the fun. They think they're having fun with it, but it's like at the same time you're going, how, like once your nervous system has done those motor patterns over and over again, you guys know, if you take 2 weeks off and then you go back and you start within 3-4 days, some of you guys within 3-4 hours, you start to get it back. You get it all back. It's all there. But they just don't understand. I think the system's been brainwashed now that, and they're charging a lot of money to skate. Now guys are charging $60 and they got like 20 guys out there making $1,000 an hour. A doctor's not even making that, okay? Or there's pro guys that aren't even making that. And I'm sitting there and I'm going like, you're right. You look like this, and you want to go out and skate every day, and what is that going to do for you?
You're going to put on muscle.
Yeah. But listen, there's guys that do it that are still good. I know there's still even some NHL guys that are doing it.
For sure.
But I think Corey is smart where he knows that his body has to stay a certain way, and he wants to keep that body healthy for later on. He doesn't load anything up on his shoulders. I thought that was great. Doesn't do any squats or anything like that. You don't need to. But it's like, he's saving his body because he wants to keep playing. And I bet you Jagger was the exact same way too, right? The rest of these guys, at some point, there's going to be an injury. There's going to be something that goes on with them. And you're going to feel it later on when you're older. And I was one of those guys. training 4 hours a day, pounding heavy weights, going all the time, and never taking a rest. And you know what? That's probably why I have sciatica today, for sure, 100%. I never did. I did it with him because I didn't know any better. I pushed him too hard, and then also you get like some resiliency from your kid. Eventually, he's like, I want to be a kid. I want to go and have fun. Like Corey said, go play golf, go do something. But and my wife kept saying to me, "Why are you treating your kid like that? You never treat your customers like that." It's like an obsession, right? So a lot of times it's parent driven.
Yeah.
But I think these young guys.
It's good that you say that. Like I probably would be similar to you.
Yeah.
And
I think we all are
Yeah.
competitive like that. It is.
Yeah,
succeed.
Because you know what you did to make it. You know what you did to make
didn't
it.
do
Right?
right, but sometimes it doesn't work out for your kid the way it works out for you.
No. So I think that I don't know if it's going to change. Honestly, it just keeps going. It's a cycle now. It's like as soon as the season's done, those guys don't even take a week off.
No.
They're right back in. We know some people like that.
We're in the heart of things. We're like playoffs, OHL Cup, and I was like, we knocked the team out. We had like a little bit of break. I was like, just not go on the ice. Like we're just gonna take time off. And then I found out guys are like going. And I'm like, what the? We've already played 72 games this year. We probably practiced 148 times.
And we got 30 more games.
How did you make it without doing a high school program every single morning? Every single morning going on the ice for 1 hour.
No, I never.
No.
This is what bothers me so much.
Okay, how about this question? Pears, today, 2023, you're playing minor midget hockey. Do you get up at 6 a.m. to go to the rink at your high school to practice, go to school all day, go to gym class, finish, go to practice, and then, go to your trainer a couple times a week and do all your homework? Is that a lot?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. For me, that's a lot. I mean,
he's not even on the ice every day. He plays in the NHL.
No.
But
some people are going to say...
For me, like, when I was in grade school, like 1 to 8 or whatever.
Yeah,
you get up early and go to do power skating.
Yeah, 100%.
But all the way up to grade 10, I guess, in minor hockey. We'll say minor hockey. But once I came to London, it was different.
That was it.
Yeah. I wasn't going, like, even minor hockey, I wasn't going to play high school hockey and then going to my AAA team and then...
We weren't allowed. Like, I wasn't allowed.
I was never allowed.
You weren't allowed back then.
We were just like...
I wasn't even allowed to play football.
Yeah. You're like too good. Labeled too good.
Play hockey and practice twice a week, play once or twice a week, and go ahead.
I had guys this year playing hockey and playing football at the same time. Imagine that disaster on your body.